Hello, I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and this week we need manners.
We need to use our manners.
We need to, if you don't mind.
God, if you wouldn't mind, would you please use your manners?
You cunt.
Seriously. So I wanted to talk about this because Scarlett is taking an etiquette class.
That's lovely. Yeah.
And manners are so important in our household.
Yeah.
As you know, and I just am noticing a downshift in manners, and I don't know if it's because I'm older or because I have a child, or just has the world's manners gotten worse? I don't know, but I would like to do a little show on things that we might not know are bad manners, or I'm not like, okay, please, thank you. Those are all very important. If you're going over to someone's house, bring a little something. That's not rocket science. Um, introducing people that you're with to people, I don't want to talk about those manners so much as I'd really like to dive into the hard manners that were the things we're having problems with.
Okay.
In my
I'm
opinion.
curious, before we get into all that, who taught you manners like growing up? Like, was there somebody in your house who taught you good manners? And like, where did you, because I think you are a very well-mannered young lady.
Thank you.
And and I'm wondering who taught you manners?
Well, both my parents were stuck on manners. So I know I tell a bunch of stories about my dad, but he was very strict on manners. My mother is still to this day extremely manner oriented. My Aunt Kate, uh, she was very into etiquette, and we just were lucky enough to learn manners. And we were where I'm from, a poor family, and I think a lot of times people think that that means you don't have manners. Well, I beg to differ. We were really, like, it was stressed on us to use our manners in our household.
What
Who
kind
was
of
your
manners?
go ahead.
Yeah, what kind of manners were, can you think of stuff off the top? Because I can think of stuff off the top of my head and I can tell you who taught me manners and stuff, but I'm like wondering what were some of the manners that they taught you, for example?
Well, for my mom, my dad was more of a textbook, please, thank you, what is proper, what isn't, how to hold yourself from a physical level in your reputation, uh, those kind of manners. But my mom was very focused on making people comfortable in our home, uh, being kind, not so much being nice, but being kind was very much a focus for her. Uh, you know, my grandmother was very into manners. I think that, my grandfather's side of the family was Southern, so they're big into manners. And, mainly their focus was making people feel comfortable.
Mm,
And I think that is really what we need to talk a little bit more about.
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
In my house, so my grandmother lived with us from when I was born until I think I was in about seventh grade. We lived downstairs and she lived upstairs. And we had every meal we had with my grandmother. And she was very, like, if she made tea and we put sugar in it, we couldn't do this.
Oh, okay.
We had to, she was like, you have to stir without, like, every little thing that we did, she would correct, like the elbows on the table, the please, the thank you, the way you ate soup. Like you're not shoveling it in like this, you're eating it like this, and you're wiping this. Like she grew up poor, poor in Poland,
Yeah.
right? Somebody had to teach her, but it's so interesting. I mean, we just took that from home, and then I learned like finer manners when I worked in fine dining. Like I
Right.
learned true etiquette, like how you eat, you from the outside in terms of the silverware and what goes with which course and how you hold the wine glass. And so it was
And that
all
is very much etiquette.
that's etiquette. Yeah. Yeah.
That's etiquette. And
And
those are the things that are actually designed to make people more comfortable. But I think manners are have a little different focus than etiquette.
yeah, and I think that's what you were talking about, the kindness or how if you ask if somebody asks you a question, it's polite to answer and then ask, and how about you? And like this general communication. So that, I don't know where that came from because it, I mean, we did that in my house, but Polish people aren't the best communicators. So I don't even know where, like, I think I just was like born with this instinct of what good manners are.
Well, you do have a wonderful sense of where someone else is in the conversation. And I think that is something to talk about. Like that right there. If what like I there's four different subjects that I really want to talk about today, which is first and foremost is politics. Our loose lips with politics are just off the charts. And I'm singing a siren song of lock your shit up. Like you have like this word. I'm not talking today. I don't want to talk about, don't use adult language and when you're out and about, like, okay, that's all known. I'm talking about alienating people for no reason.
Yeah. And also, you mentioned this a long time ago, like you never used to tell people who you're voting for. Politics just weren't discussed, really. It was just a private thing. And suddenly it's become this in your face. I mean, I think
It's
that's a lack
very
of manners.
combative.
Yeah.
It is first and foremost a lack of manners because I'm 47 years old. I have my own experiences. I know and have thought long and hard about each and every subject, and I know how I'm voting. Like I've done the research. There are a few people I will talk about politics with, and they're only because I really am interested and curious and what their outlook is because it might influence mine. But I
Yeah.
don't talk to anybody anymore that I want to change their mind because it's just fruitless. It
Yeah.
is fruitless. And like if you are staunch in your thoughts, which I think by the time you are, and I want to kind of eliminate the 20-year-olds out of this, all the 20s, the entire, you know what I mean? Like they're allowed to go burn their bras and, fuck the man and all of this. I am talking about, 35 plus year olds that, and especially elderly people.
Mm.
They're the worst offenders. I'm sorry, but like that they are, and that just go into something and they know they're not going to change their mind. They're only out to change another person's mind, and it is only in alienating anybody and everybody. Even if you agree with them, it's so distasteful and combative. It doesn't feel good, and you're not changing anyone's mind. Like my grandmother would not tell us who she voted for. I will not tell anybody who I voted for. Not one person. I won't do it. By the time I make it to the ballot box, I've made up my mind. I do not want to ho hash about it. If I do want to ho hash about it, I'm going to hit the streets and get signatures. I'm going to march. I'm going to,
Yeah. Go big
you
or
know,
go home.
yeah, I'm gonna or I'm gonna go like financially support the candidate that meets
Yeah.
the things that I think are important. But I'm not going to go on Instagram or Facebook and alienate somebody who already has a view.
Yeah.
It's so distasteful. And it, even if you do decide that it's fruitful, which it's not, going in on someone that you are not in front of and not actually having a good conversation with and are open to some sort of thought, you're wasting everybody's time and you look horrible,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you just look terrible. So, some of the things that when discussing politics, you have to choose the right setting. Already brought it up. Do not have a
Yeah.
political discussion with somebody unless you're in front of them.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, it drives me nuts here in Poland. Like sitting around the table, people just scream at each other about
Mm,
politics. Like, what is this? You know, and I
what are
it's
you hoping
insane.
to achieve?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a question to ask when you decide to open the floodgates. What are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah.
I'll discuss politics with my niece Alex because I'm not sure that she can see all angles with it, and she'll love me anyway, and I have to love her.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I like political discussions when they're
Yeah,
interesting. You're
and
genuinely
actually,
interested in somebody's opinion. Yeah.
when I do talk to her, I do want to know what the 26-year-olds are thinking
Yeah.
in this. Where are they coming from? Maybe I can learn. Maybe I can understand a little better. Maybe she could sway me
Yeah.
in one way or the other. But
Yeah.
I will not have a discussion with somebody on Facebook or that I know damn well has nothing in common with me and try to, like, because I'm going to sit there and try to understand where you're coming from, but you're not looking to understand where I'm coming from. You're looking to win.
Yeah. I always joke with the women I work with that are recovering from alcoholism. Like, I'm sure your life was saved so you can argue with strangers on Facebook about politics.
Yeah,
I'm sure
seriously.
that's what it is.
That's why that's why God brought you
Why you
here.
stop drinking so you can do
Yeah.
that. Fuck. Can I say
And
one
that
thing
and
that's
yeah,
I want to hear
please.
I really want to hear your opinion on this because there's been some we're talking about politics and we're talking about manners, so this is why I'm bringing it up. The Polish the Minister of Foreign Affairs, his name is Radek Sikorski, made some comment about Starlink to Elon Musk. And Elon Musk basically tweeted like, "Shut up, small man."
Yeah.
Um, and it was so shocking to me that lack of manners, like he might not agree with what he was saying. And this just seems like so typical of what's going on in the world. Like, I don't agree with what you're saying. You're criticizing me, so I'm going to tell you, shut up, small man. And I actually wrote like, Mr. Musk, I like a lot of what you're doing. However, I don't agree with the way you're speaking to our Minister of Foreign Affairs because he deserves respect. He's the minister, like whatever, so it's just so interesting to me how, and I'm curious like what
Well,
your thoughts are.
the disrespect is from the top down. I mean, and from the bottom up. I mean, it's going everywhere. And I would implore everyone to not engage with disrespect. It
Yeah.
is the only self-respecting thing you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine telling somebody, shut up, small man. I mean, I can, but
Yeah, like there's many small men that we could
yeah. To
and we
all
got
the
in
micro
trouble for that.
to all the micro penis dick pics that were getting shut up.
Shut up, small man. But to not engage with it because it is narcissistic behavior to disrespect. It We're in a time, I'm not saying there's all these narcissists, I'm just saying we're allowing narcissistic behavior to happen, and then engaging with it is only fueling it.
Yeah,
Like if he got 0 likes on that, you wouldn't do it again.
right. Yeah, and you got, people were agreeing and they weren't it was interesting to me. No one acknowledged the rude the name calling as as bad manners. And I was like, wow, that's interesting
Yeah.
to me. These are diplomats. These are representatives of our great countries and they're name calling. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, huh? Yeah, it's just you can't engage with it. If nobody engaged with it, it would not the ping in the brain that is allowing that to happen wouldn't happen. He wouldn't get anything from it. He wouldn't gain any energy or momentum from it.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do with our, like, your weird uncle that is putting, like, you know, whatever he is on Facebook, like, uh, crazy shit's going. I'm trying to think of an example, like, you know, fuck all Mexicans. Like, okay, crazy uncle, you get 0 likes for that from us. You don't get any engagement. You don't, like, you don't get that ping of any kind of connection, because what we're doing in discussing politics and religion, for that, like, you can throw that in here, you can do any of that. What you're getting is a false connection.
Yeah.
It's a pillow humping.
Yeah, it's I tell the woman I work with all the time, because they're getting this dopamine hit from the like.
Mhm.
So they're posting so many selfies, but it's not real. It's not, it's not like a stable, healthy self-esteem. It's this dopamine hit,
Yeah.
All the ones that are posting all these selfies, a lot of them have very low self-esteem,
Well,
right? Because
yeah, like, if okay, let's just say you post something with your, showing your, you know, inappropriate whatever. I can't even think of anything because I really don't have an opinion on what's appropriate, what isn't, obviously. But let's just say you post, you know, you deem, I love side boob, but if somebody posted their side boob and you don't actually like that, you don't like that. Okay. I have no problem with it. But if you don't like that, to go on and comment and say, I don't think that's appropriate, that's actually fueling it.
yeah,
It's like almost a reverse child psychology in this, and it is fruitless. The
yeah,
best thing you can do and the most appropriate thing you can do is scroll past it and not give it any energy at all.
yeah.
And that is really hard for our egos to do. That we're talking about our most basic reptilian brain is getting engaged with these arguments.
Yeah. All right. So manners in politics. What else? What other categories you got there?
Well, I think we have a problem with driving. I think
Yeah.
I
Oh, you would
do.
love Poland. Zero, no one that lets you merge, zero merging. Like people, oh, you would die here. It's awful.
The ego is just raunchy when it's behind the wheel. And I think that there is some serious manners that need to be upheld, which merging is the only thing I can say about merging is it is the difference between a caveman and a civilized person. It is that, like, if you're able to understand that you're not the only one in the world, you let somebody merge.
No, it doesn't happen here. I
It's
can't even tell you the amount of times I scream. I fall into a rage because I can't believe, like, why won't you let me? I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's like, so many times, but I think that there is something that happens when you're behind the wheel that you say, okay, this is mine, not yours.
It's a fight for your life. It's a fight to get there first.
It's you're gonna win the left-hand lane. Yeah, like what?
You're gonna win the
And
left lane.
like, there's just, and just opening our minds to being, we're all trying to get somewhere. Life is not easy for everyone. Making people comfortable on the road. Although I will say, this week I've seen 3 people accidentally get hit, and they just said they didn't have any damage to their car, and they said they got out, looked at their car, and they said, it's okay, go ahead. I
Oh, I
couldn't
love
believe it.
that. I love that. Yeah, that would never
And
happen.
it's only because we were about to do this podcast. Because, like, the universe wanted to show me some stuff. But I do want to say manners while driving is when somebody makes a mistake, you let them have some grace. You
Yeah.
let them, when somebody is trying to get somewhere, you 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 don't make them nervous when you're driving. Like if you're tailgating, it makes somebody nervous.
It
Like you
really
have to
makes me
understand
nervous.
that.
Makes me so nervous. I will literally so there's Polish like one lane highways. If somebody's on my tail, I will pull over and just let them go because I can't. It makes me so it's because it makes me nervous. It's not because I'm being super nice and letting them, go. But like I can't do it.
It
I get
feels so
it
terrible.
feels terrible. Yeah.
And in Florida, you don't know, like you fuck around, you might actually find out. Like everyone's allowed to carry guns here,
Yeah.
but that's not the reason that we should be better.
Yeah. It's the threat of getting shot is not the reason we should have good manners.
Because it doesn't work. You should see
It does.
these people. Driving aggressively is just, I mean, it's a 20-year-old's game. It's just not
Yeah.
for normal people. It's just not, it is such I'm always like, either you've got a small dick or your masculine energy is entirely off balance if you're a girl, or you are just in a hurry and save that for then. Like if I've got to go an emergency, I need to go to the ER, I'm going to drive like a maniac. But that's about the only time I could think of,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Uh
Oh, I love when somebody or I let somebody merge or I let somebody in or I do something nice and they thank me by turning on their hazards really quick. That's the thank you in Poland. I don't know if that's the thank you in the US, but the thank you in the Poland is you blink your hazards quickly to say blink blink thank you and I
I
think
like, thank you. In
yeah.
St. Thomas, it was doo doo, a little toot of the horn, thank
Oh, I love
you.
that.
Here it's a wave, like I like wave
Wait.
like a
Yeah.
maniac.
Yeah.
A wave is huge, but just be grateful out on the road. Like we're all trying to get somewhere.
We also have
Um,
a sign for if sometimes people don't have the automatic feature on their lights when it gets darker and they forgot to turn on their lights. So we do this. It's a little
oh,
you put your hand out the window and you do this. It means turn on your lights. So that's manners. That's
dang. I
reminding people.
love that. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Make sure that like take care of your fellow man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that
So
hard.
warning people if there's cops, the quick
Oh
like
yeah.
that's I think that's very good manners.
I love those. Like, okay, you just saved me from a speeding ticket. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like that's so nice.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. So that's really, I mean, the driving, like if you are a rageful driver, you have an imbalance. Something is off in you.
Or a small dick. Suddenly
Or a
all the
small dick.
are going to be like driving super slow.
Well, the more calm you drive as a man, the bigger your penis is.
Yeah, there you go.
There, I just fixed it. I fixed everything.
You fixed the problem. The calmer you are as
Um,
a politician, the bigger your dick.
that's right.
We're gonna
Okay.
we're gonna save the world, I'm telling you.
If we could somehow say, okay, the calmer you drive, like the more, like the better your vagina smells. Look at- Everyone's gonna calm the country asses down, right?
Yeah.
So I did want to bring up parenting etiquette because I do see some pretty
Yeah, let me
confrontational
hear it. I'm
parenting.
super curious about it. Let me hear about some of the
Respecting other people's choices. We're dealing with a lot of the vaccine stuff right
Mhm.
now. We're dealing with, I mean, it's a war on vaccines or on anti-vaxxers. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there's
like
yeah.
I believe our children choose us and we have the right uh North Star for our own children.
Mm,
And that's not always going to be the same for each other. And rather than tear each other down, what we have to do is support and lead by example. I don't see any other way.
yeah.
Not parenting and screaming and putting people in a weird position to don't discipline your children in front of people because all you're doing is virtue signaling. I see it all the time. I don't want you to have that much sugar, little Johnny. I'm like, oh my God, you just want to tell me that you're not feeding your kid that much sugar.
Yeah.
And don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining. You don't give one damn. You only care that that somebody else is caring about your parenting. Nobody
Yeah.
is giving a shit. Save your parenting for behind closed doors. And, if you need to take somebody outside, my mom used to be like, would you like to join me in the washroom? And I'd be like, hell no. Hell, I thought she could kill me in there. I never went.
Yeah.
I just straightened right up. So I think that that's important because it makes people feel uncomfortable. Like it really is weird.
Yeah.
Um, Teach kids to ask before touching someone's shit.
Mm.
It's and the way you do that is you ask them if you can touch their toys. You lead by example. You ask when you're out and about if you can touch something. Uh be mindful of what's going on. If your child is being, we had a really terrible experience. We were at a parade, and some kids that we knew came and stood in our spot, like when you save your
Yeah.
spot at this parade. And their two kids went out with the rest of the kids to try to get the candy. And their child literally beat the crap out of like our children to get the candy. They elbowed them. They were just
That's crazy.
crazy. But the parents never came up and pulled him back and said, hey, you know, whispered in his ear, I need to, like, we are here
Yeah.
as their guests. Can you, you know, uh,
Yeah.
manage yourself a little bit better? And if you couldn't, just remove him from the situation. It was horrible for the kid because he was in fight mode, and our children's time was absolutely ruined.
Yeah.
And so managing your children while you're out and about is really important, especially if you know that you're coming with a hammer. And all, like, when Scarlett was 3 or 4, she was a hammer. I left more places because she couldn't handle it. You know, I
Yeah.
just had to make her secure, because when a kid is acting out and fighting and ripping things out of people's hands, they are insecure. And the only
Yeah.
thing you can do is secure your child as a parent.
Mm.
And it just, so it, like, don't make other parents,
Yeah.
parent your child. I mean, it's a village, but at some point, like, it just becomes uncomfortable for everything.
Yeah.
Responding to invitations is important, because so many times the kid that invites your kid to something is really wanting them to be there and is going to be
Mm.
very disappointed. And I
Oh.
think that,
Yeah.
like, being mindful of other people's experience and parenting is important. Um, I could say teach gratitude, but like please and thank you is a, those things are easy, but it's just being mindful of your child and how secure they are in the situation and how they're affecting others,
Yeah.
you know
And like awareness also, I think. I Scarlett's got that. She's got manners.
she's got manners. In fact, the lady that is teaching the etiquette class was like, I mean, mind blown by her,
What
because it's a
can I
big
ask
focus.
where she's taking the etiquette classes and like what is she learning?
There's a lady that's giving it. Here, I can look it up. It's adorable, here in town. She is just absolutely lovely. Um, and she is teaching the first one was, let me see. It's your basic, plates and forks and knives and
Okay.
and that kind of thing. Uh, let's see. Do do do. Let's see. There's 4 different categories, but like children's etiquette is so important because it makes them feel secure when you're not there.
Yeah.
They know what to do. Well, like if you teach a child manners, they're very, very secure in a situation because they know what to do,
Mm,
in my opinion.
yeah.
But have a hard time finding
That's
it.
fair.
But it's a good way to secure a child, when you're not there.
Mm, yeah. I think like a lot of children are losing manners because I think what's happening to our society, it's become very egocentric. So like you're the most important person in the room, And I think kids are absorbing that and it's no longer that you have to respect the group and respect others, but it's like fight for what's it's just really interesting. Um,
Well, I mean, they are just taking the lead of their parents.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is just what it is. The first one was the importance of handwritten thank you cards,
Mm,
and then essential etiquette.
would love that.
Week two is the art of the introduction and the power of presence. Uh, just how to introduce yourself, how to make people feel comfortable when you're in the room with them. When you bring somebody somewhere and they don't know everybody, how to connect them. And
Mm.
it's simple things like that.
That's
Week three is
that's something that is lacking in Poland. Like I will go to a party and the host won't introduce everybody to everybody, which I think that's like a host thing. Like you need to take this is, Lizzie, this is where she's from, this is her husband, and just introducing people, but that's not
well,
a
and just something simple that connects them both. Oh,
yeah.
this is my husband, Jason. He likes
Yeah.
scotch. And I know that you like
And a
scotch.
lot
You
of
know what I
it.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
But like,
yeah.
um, week three is online and social etiquette, the art of the apology, respecting
Mm,
boundaries, and the importance of permission. And then week four is restaurant and dining etiquette.
love it.
And yeah, it's super cute.
How fun. Are they gonna
Yeah.
go to a restaurant and do it?
Yeah, they're gonna have a dining experience.
That's
Yep.
so amazing. That's
Isn't
really
that cute?
yeah.
Yeah, this lady, her name is Britt. She is really, really like special, and I'm super glad that
Mm,
Scarlett was included in it. My friend Erin is doing it, and it's just something. And what I loved about it the most, and the reason I was like yes, because Scarlett does have hella manners.
hella
Uh,
manner.
hella manners. But I liked that she would be in a room with people whose children or people with children whose parents were focused on manners.
Yeah.
I want her to get a group of people that also care about making people feel comfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
I
So
love that. So parenting, children, anything else? Politics, we talked about driving, anything else?
oh yeah, we have the biggest one. I saved the best one for
Oh,
last.
let me hear it.
Cell phones.
Oh, amen.
I was at uh,
Amen.
I was at the nail salon the other day, and this old lady, I know that's not manners to say, this long in the tooth lady, uh okay, I wouldn't say that about anybody else, but she was so nasty. She was playing Fox News freaking loud. Loud. I don't know where she got a phone that was this loud. And we're all looking at each other we're all having pedicures. And I said, excuse me, is there some sort of national emergency that we should all be concerned about? And yeah, I mean, that's the only way I could think to say it. And she was like, well, you're talking so loud. I was like, well, I'm sorry that I was talking too loud. I'll try to keep it down. Uh, it is not, it is not, how did I say it? I said something like using your wireless phone like that is not appreciated. It's not acceptable in public.
Mm,
And I just like,
She turned it off.
yeah, she turned it off. I mean,
Good.
it was just, and then all of the people from the salon said, thank God you said something to her. She does that every other week. She's in here listening to her news. And I'm just thinking, okay, so people who are older, they haven't grown up with cell phones. So I don't think they know exactly what is appropriate and what
Mm,
isn't appropriate.
yeah.
We're of the generation that all of our entire adult life has
Yeah.
had cell phones. They didn't have it. They
Yeah.
were they would only get their phone calls at home, and they could kind of manage themselves that way. But it's so important to keep your volume in check when you're out and
Mm,
about.
yeah.
It really is. Um, Avoid speakerphone in public. I can't tell you how many times I see this. It's so embarrassing. And I make eye contact with the person and I just actively listen to their conversation. I can't help myself. It's
Yeah.
just there.
Well, it's there. Yeah.
Um, if you're in front of somebody, to be looking at your phone constantly is the worst thing
Yeah.
you can do. It makes the
So
other,
disrespectful.
I've been there, like I've been having lunch with someone and they're on their phone constantly and not saying, "Oh my God, my house is closing and day after tomorrow. I need to know if this message is going to come through." None of that. Just keep looking at it and I just feel like lost, like
Mm,
I'm second fiddle,
yeah.
and that to make someone feel like that is awful. Um, Silencing your phone in social gatherings, I think that that's really important, and
Mine's
I
on
think
silent all the time. Literally do not have my ringer on at all because I just don't like the sound. I don't like it disturbing anybody.
right. And if you're able to do that, that's fine. But if not, like just being mindful of what it might be like to get a whole house interruption, because that's what a ring is. That's what a ping
Yeah.
is. That's what it's a whole, everyone is at least distracted.
Yeah.
Uh, how many times are you behind somebody and they're on their phone? And you
Walking
just
down the street with their phone and they just smash into you, like not paying attention.
it's like you feel like you're in the world of Sims. It's like
Yeah.
it looks so bad.
I
And
also
it's
cannot stand when I'm driving with somebody, I'm in the passenger seat, they're driving and they are on their phone while they're driving. I will literally be like, you are putting my life at risk. I want you to put your phone down
yeah.
immediately. Like, it drives me nuts.
So Scarlett and I have a word because I do sometimes get drawn to it if I get a ping or something. And we have a word, she says biscuits. And if she says biscuits, I have to make sure I'm not on my phone. You know what
That's
I mean? So
wonderful.
it's teaching her that to be mindful that you shouldn't be because she's going to be behind the wheel in
Yeah.
3 years or
Yeah.
2.5 years. And it's like, I want her to be mindful that nobody should be driving you with a cell phone in their hand.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so dangerous. Um, you are putting your life in danger and everyone else on the roads.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Uh, Keep texting, be mindful about texting. Texting is one of those things uh, you can really you can appear nasty. You're the person that's reading it has the own has is kind of putting a tone on you. So whatever you say in text should be over exaggerated in kindness.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I always put like X's on the bottom or something just to, yeah, let people know.
Yeah, just be like, you
Yeah.
know what? Go ahead and fuck yourself. XOXO.
XXX. Yeah.
But seriously,
Yeah.
you can really be taken, and feelings can be hurt. You can be taken the wrong way. You could have to take your time and fix something if you do it,
Yeah.
if you don't, you know.
Yeah.
Um, that's a that's mainly it.
Yeah.
You
I want to
know,
ask, Do you have any manners pet peeves? Because I want to share like some of mine, but do you have any pet peeves where if people aren't well mannered in this area or doing well mannered things, like it drives you
Yeah.
nuts? What are they?
Yeah. Well, you tell me yours and I'll tell you
Okay.
mine.
My number one thing is being late.
Oh God.
Like, I don't mind it with you, like if we're recording or something, because we text each other, but like,
We have that thing, but
yeah,
yeah,
but
I agree.
being late to business meetings or late to like meeting, being late. So
Being
being on
late,
time. Yeah. Just not being late. I don't
being
like it.
late.
Like if somebody's late, and they're not, it's disrespectful. Second thing is, when people call me and just start talking, because I coach a lot of women, and sometimes they
Yeah.
will just call me up. They will never ask how I am. They'll just go into their own like dramas.
Or can you chat? Do you have time for a
Yeah,
chat?
yeah. Ask me that. And that drives me that's one of my pet peeves. And I remember I work with British women, completely different. I think Brits have a sense of decorum and manners, and that is just unparalleled because all the British women that I work with, that British women that I coach, they're like, they always send me a text like, when would be a good time to speak? I hope you're well. Like the niceties, the
Yeah.
pleasantries. They always like have a nice introduction, and then they ask when would
Right.
be a good time and how much time they need. And
If
then the
you look at it like
women just
this,
call me and they just go into it, and I'm like, I'm fine. How are you?
if you look at it like this, the cell phone call is the equivalent of the modern pop-in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if you call me, if I get a call, somebody, let's just say my aunt calls me and I see her calling, I'm going to pick up because I'm scared that something's going on.
Yeah.
So it's the equivalent of a modern pop-in. So you have to be like, hey, you were on my mind. Do you have a moment to talk? And then spew out all your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what else? It's really a pet peeve when I ask somebody a question in conversation, and then they don't engage in the art of conversation. So they don't say, "How about you?" So
Oh my God,
I
I
don't
do
know
that too all
why
the
it
time.
just
I'm
drives me
sorry.
nuts. Like the manners of conversation. Like learn how to have a fucking conversation, please. Like if I'm asking you questions, if we're on a date and I'm asking you questions, you ask me something back, motherfucker. Like this is
I
it's like
know.
that is like my top pet peeve.
That's it's hard. It's hard when you're having a conversation with someone who is distracted or is not curious about you at all. And how, you know, how to get out of that is also like, okay, well, alrighty then, like that kind of yeah, that's a good one. That's a tough one. And I am sorry for all the times I've done that to you. And I would like to do a broad stroke apology to anybody I've done that to as well.
You're good at it though. You're pretty good at it because I think I what I love about you is your ability to self-reflect because I think a long time ago we had that conversation and then I noticed after actively you were like, "How about you? How about you?" And I'm like, I didn't even mention you. I just mentioned that it was a pet peeve. I think I was talking about men that I was going on, dates with and that
Yeah.
they wouldn't ask. And then so you had this moment I think of self-reflection, so you started doing it. So I think that's lovely.
And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about somebody saying something that makes them uncomfortable and you responding with something that comforts them
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form. When somebody comes over to my home and I do my best to make them feel comfortable. When I go to somebody's home, I do my best to make them feel comfortable. Do
Yeah.
I do everything right? No. But, like just really keeping in mind that we're all having a human experience here and manners at least acknowledges that.
Yeah.
It allows other people to have an experience that isn't negative. It's too much. We're focused too much. Oh, I'm just me. No, you're actually an asshole.
Yeah. This is how I am,
This is me. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'll get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a difference between actually being your authentic self and being someone who's rude and nasty.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
a couple of my pet peeves is when someone is doesn't let me off the phone when I want to get off the phone.
Oh my gosh.
I've given indicator after indicator after indicator, and I know my sister listens to this podcast. I'm not talking about you because we know you are a chronic offender, and I love you anyway. But other people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that is like if I'm giving you social indicators that I want to need something and you're not paying attention to them, that's bothersome.
Yeah.
I don't like when somebody actively doesn't include one person in a group.
The inclusion. Yeah. Absolutely. I completely agree. I think it's, and I was so shocked when I moved to Poland and was sitting around a table. I was new around a table and nobody asked me about me. And I just sat there. Nobody engaged me. And I think that is horrible manners. And I don't, I've been the one that's been excluded. So I always try to include. I don't like it when I'm at the table and there's somebody, I always try to include the person. Yeah.
And let's be clear, this is not codependency. This is literally someone being vulnerable enough to be new in an environment.
Yeah.
And then you mean girling them.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it a lot. And
Yeah.
I see it like if somebody is even nearby to reach your hand and just feel, and metaphorically and
Yeah.
say, hey, I know you're here. I like you're part of this. Like we're connected here. I
Yeah.
think that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
I really do. I, you know, I let's talk about it since we're here. It bothers me when a check is like if you're at dinner with a bunch of people and you ask the waiter to break it up into 16 parts. I can't tell you how many times we've split the check. They have 4 kids, we have one, but it's just splitting the check. It's not
Yeah. Well, we get this
right
time
down the
around, we get
middle.
next time around, it all comes back around.
It all comes back around, but like if you get, I know I get it. We're all like money is tight. Don't go out to dinner then.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. It really does bother me when people are rude to waiters or
Oh,
servers.
the
It
worst.
it bothers me when somebody, acts entitled to to something. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, well,
entitlement's the worst.
I mean,
And
I
little
guess
things. Sometimes little things. Like I do not like it when somebody chews with their mouth open and talks when they're eating. Like
it's disgusting.
just shut it, swallow, and then talk.
Or don't talk at all.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's cut a variable out right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you don't need to talk.
You don't need to talk. You need to eat. Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
thing that is really, really, distasteful. It really is. It's like, oh, but I'll take chewing with my mouth open over somebody not being kind,
Yeah. I'll
you
take a
know?
kind open mouth or chewer
I
any
don't
day.
know. It's tough. It's tough to watch.
So my friend Dan, he literally like sometimes we're on these Zoom calls where there's a lot of people, and if there's somebody eating on screen, he will take a post-it and just cover them up because he just can't take it.
It's a coping mechanism.
So funny. He's just like, nope, can't look at that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just that manners are really there to make you feel comfortable and secure and to make other people feel comfortable and
yeah,
secure. And I think that, leading by example for that is really important. And I do love when you go over to someone's house and they've thought about something for you.
yeah,
They thought about you. They knew you were coming and they're so happy that you're going to be there that they thought about a little something. Doesn't have to be big, but they knew you were coming and they were happy to have you, and it shows.
Yeah, you do that really, really well. Like you'd be really good at running like a bed and breakfast because when I was there, you made this little jar of lavender hand cream butter. It was just
Mhm.
lovely. It smelled so I have it right now. Like it
I'm
smells
so
so good.
glad.
Yeah, so that was
Well,
really
and I know you love lavender, but just I thought of you and I was happy that you were coming, so I made you something.
yeah, it
And
was
just I hope that, just making people feel happy that um they're there in your home is important. And not everyone can make their own, hand cream, but you can put a little something I got for you.
little
I know you
chocolate,
like this.
little
Anything.
something, little yeah. I always do
Yeah.
that when people because there's an apartment next door and the, every time I like put a little something, little shampoo, little thing, little, whatever, a little extra.
Yeah, I know you like this, so I got you that, and I'm so happy you're here, and
Yeah.
you
My friend
know,
Dagmara, I have to give a shout out to her because she lives in Krakow, but she was studying in Warsaw every other weekend and she asked could she stay at the apartment. And she bought a coffee machine, for when she was there and she just left it as a gift, as a thank
yeah,
you for, we let her use the apartment for I think a year, every other weekend, and she just left this nice little coffee machine. She bought it, she had every right to take it back, so that's manners, right? Like,
well, what kind of guest are you? Like if like you
yeah,
think about it, what kind of guest are you? First of all, it's when you have someone in your home, it's you know, it's something. When you leave, I take the better part. You took the better part
yeah,
when you were here.
yeah. Wash
You
the dishes, like do all that. Yeah, you do that stuff.
try to help out when in any way you can. It's important to make people feel like you are happy to be there
Yeah,
or
yeah,
that you enjoyed your stay.
yeah.
It's like,
Agreed. Yeah,
so that's another, I guess that would be a big pet peeve of mine is like, okay, when you come, I'm so happy that you're here and I'm doing all of these things that I love and trying to make you feel important. Just being grateful that you came and showing that is
yeah,
important,
yeah.
you
Love it.
know? Love it too.
So good. Oh, what a good episode. I love talking about this stuff. It's
I
important.
love I love it too. Have you seen With Love, Megan on Netflix?
No, I have not. And I don't know if it's available yet in Poland. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, she's just Scarlett says that reminds her a lot of me. But she's like doing just fun. She's cooking, making things beautiful. She's doing, I mean, all kinds of like if I had assistants, it would be exactly how I want to live.
Yeah.
Exactly how, like if I had either 48 hours in a day or I had assistants, that's exactly how I
That's
would live.
okay. I'll watch it and I'll keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I know how you live, so I'm sure it'll remind me of it as well.
Yeah, I think you'll at least see some similarities because it's all my goals.
Okay. I love it. All
Well,
right.
I love you and
I
I'll
love
see you
you
next
too.
Tuesday.
Stay. Woo! The
Bye.
heart bursts.
I want it, but it won't give it to me. Thank you so much for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast.
Make sure to like, subscribe, like again our YouTube channel, our Instagram, follow us wherever you can. It really, really helps us out and ensures that you won't miss any future episodes. So, yep, thanks to you, we can keep going.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.